More behind the scenes of The Chosen Season 4, Week 7 in total, and we're actually looking at the YouTube video from The Chosen this week where they talk about the Romans and do a little bit of a deep dive into Gaius, Quintus, and Atticus. It's a really short video. I was hoping for a longer video this week, but it's only like 4 minutes long. So let's take a look at this one and talk about what's kind of going on here. Of course, Gaius being one of the most interesting characters, and we actually get complete confirmation that Gaius is the centurion with the sick servant from Dallas in the Bible Roundtable. So we'll talk about that in another episode as well. But for this one, let's check out this YouTube video and talk about the Romans and what their role is in total when it comes to the Chosen. They are obviously a huge part, but sometimes we don't fully understand what that actually looks like. So let's get going here.
So Roman Week has begun, and today we're going to get to see all of our favorites.
If you talk to me again, I'm just going to die. I'm just going to die.
The first few days of filming Roman Week, we got to catch up with Gaius.
Not just Matthew, but you've gotten to know Simon in season 3. How have the two of them together affected Gaius?
Those two, as well as Jesus himself, his message from the Sermon on the Mount is really making me reconsider my beliefs.
So remember, this is over a long period of time. So I know that The Chosen is hard to, grasp when it comes to time frames overall, because they skip around so much, because the festivals are in the wrong places or in the wrong times or doing these different things. It's really hard to gauge how much time has passed in The Chosen, because we don't even get like a lower third that says like AD 2026 or AD 27 or AD 28, except for that very first season. And so we don't get any update on what year we're in, even though we know that the years are passing. So Gaius has been in this for at least 2, maybe 2.5 years now, as he's been involved with Matthew and been involved in the ministry of Jesus and kind of what's going on there. So over time, Gaius has been being changed, slowly but surely, and we're going to see the culmination of that in this season, absolutely.
Well, my thoughts exactly.
That's got to be foreign to Gaius.
Jupiter, Juno, Mars, Mercury, Neptune, Venus, Apollo,
All right,
Diana.
stop. I'm exhausted already.
Out of the many, many gods now, the one seems to be breaking through to Gaius.
That's exactly right.
Playing a character like this that has this subtle growth over the years, is it a challenge?
No, it's fun to play that because there's always an opposition. There's always something going on. It's not just one note. I love inner conflict. I love dilemma. Yeah, it's fun.
Primmy.
Yeah, it's really interesting playing a character like Gaius because he has to go from like mean Roman guy who hates all the Jews to, I kind of like this Jewish guy, but not all the Jews, but this guy's kind of cool. Who is he following? What's this guy doing? Why is he so crazy? What is happening? I'm seeing miracles. Like, there's so many facets to Gaius's character that he's able to evolve slowly over time. So playing a character like that has to be really intriguing as an actor, knowing that you have these new puzzles, these new challenges to kind of solve within this character piece by piece. Because Gaius was one way at the beginning, but he's been changing a ton over the last few seasons, for sure.
I know what I must do, Dominus. You need a hand?
Let's roll, Sam.
Rolling. First shot. And what would Roman Week be without the great return of
Atticus.
I'll talk about that little moment there. Looks like Atticus is actually going to threaten to destroy
and what would Roman
Quintus's bust that he's been making. So we talked about this when they filmed this a few weeks ago. Looks like Quintus is getting a bust made of his face, right? Obviously the vain, sort of power-hungry person that Quintus is. He's looking to kind of show his power and have these things done. He's probably a little bit bored in Capernaum, right? As he's going through these things. It looks like Atticus is actually really irritated, like really upset at Quintus for acting that way. Something has really, really bugged Atticus. And we're going to talk about what in just a second.
Roman Week be without the great return of
Atticus.
Like Beauty and the Beast, right?
Yeah, I'm the beast.
No, you're not Beauty and the Beauty.
He's not very bothered easily. In the scene, though, he seems agitated and he's freaking out a little bit.
Something spooked you.
What did he see out in the water?
So we see Quintus say something spooked you. And so he's seeing that Atticus is really agitated. He's seeing that Atticus is having a lot of these issues. And so this is a really big deal. Not only does it show us that Atticus is beginning to really see these different things come to life and he's becoming more and more and more engaged. It's not just following a zealot anymore. It's not just following this teacher anymore. Something has changed and he's taking it very seriously. So this shows us that in this scene here, he actually did see Jesus walking on the water. Real quick, if you haven't heard yet, we're going to Israel in January of 2024. So we would love to have you on that trip with us. It's one of the cheapest trips you can possibly book, and everything is taken care of except for your lunches during the day. This is going to be awesome, and, well, we really want you to be a part of it. We've got some amazing hosts, Isaac David and John McCrae, and also, we're going to be doing some amazing things. This is my 4th Israel trip, and so I've been able to curate exactly what it is that you guys want to check out, taking out the things that just waste time, and the things that I think are non-essential, and really focusing on what God would want us to see in the Holy Land. I'd love to see you over there, and all the info is in the description down below. And not only did he see him, but he saw him enough to be like really freaked out by it, right? And so now we know from the end of season 3 that Atticus actually did see something on the water. It's not just left up to chance anymore. There's something that he saw, but he's not quite sure how he saw it. And so this gives us confirmation of that. It's really interesting. And it's going to show us the progression of Atticus as we go through season 4 for sure.
From last season.
What I think I've seen is coming into conflict with my rational mind. Atticus has witnessed the aftermath of what other Jews are calling a miracle, the feeding of the 5,000. I look out on the water several times just to make sure that what I saw is there and then it disappears. So I'm very confused and disturbed and provoked. I, of course, can't share my thoughts with anyone. What I do know is that there's a threat that has to be dealt with. Quintus hasn't been paying any attention.
You really need to do something.
It's interesting how this dynamic has shifted, right? Like we start with Atticus coming into the picture and he's like this really high official who is directly working with Pilate. And he's someone who is not afraid of Quintus at all. He doesn't need Quintus at all. In fact, Quintus is more of an annoyance to him. And now Quintus is even more of an annoyance, but he needs Quintus to act. He needs Quintus to do something within Capernaum because Jesus is having, like, all these people are here. Tent City is here. Like, there's a bunch of pilgrims that are coming to see Jesus in Capernaum, and it's making this big ruckus. And so now Atticus is, like, really forcefully trying to get Quintus to do something. And now, of course, neither of these characters are in the Bible, so we have no biblical precedence to what Atticus is trying to do or what Quintus is trying to do. We know that there would have been a praetor that is in control of this area somehow, but we don't know who that would have been. The only person that's biblical in the Roman sector so far has been Pilate and now Gaius. Even though we didn't know his name, we know that he's the centurion with the sick servant. So, I don't know. It's hard to tell exactly where these characters are exactly going to go. I don't think that, like, Atticus is going to become a follower of Christ. I do think that he's really intrigued, and possibly they could be setting him up to be the one that says, surely this is the Son of God, at the very end when Jesus is crucified. Although it says in the scripture that that's like a Roman soldier, and he's not like a Roman soldier. I don't know. So there could be a lot of different things that are happening here, for sure.
Quintus, he's having a bust made.
Yeah, he's very
real ugly, by the way. You need to get a new sculptor.
very much on a different tack.
How is Atticus's obsession with Jesus going to impact him?
That's cool. We see that little shot there of Atticus about to pull the sculpture there.
Quintus, he's having a bust made.
Yeah, he's very much on a different tack.
How is Atticus's obsession with
We
Jesus
see him grabbing it here,
going to
threatening to destroy it, and Quintus is freaking out.
impact him this season?
Well, you know I can't quite answer that.
That was very mustache twirly.
This is Atticus. Buy snacks. No. Like, share, and subscribe.
So you'll start with a spear, you'll go spearless.
So you wonder why it takes so long to create an episode. As the Roman soldiers moving quickly through the scene, the very timing of sending the background actors goes by so quick when you're watching it. But to see how they organize it behind scenes is pretty amazing.
That's a cut. Reset background.
I think we need to be just walking urgently as opposed to running.
And last, but definitely not the least, is Quintus, played by Brandon Potter.
Jesus shows up at Capernaum. A whole tent city follows him. Has anything happened since then that has made you dislike him even more?
Maybe dislike Jesus?
Go, Jesus of Nazareth, I like you.
As far as I know, we have an understanding. Well, I don't know that I'm so concerned about him as a force that will change the world, which is of course what he is. Right now, all I see is that he's marshaling a bunch of tent people outside of my city. That's an inconvenience, but nothing to be so mad about.
Something that I noticed about what we're filming today, your first day on set, by the way, for season 4, is Atticus is not himself.
Feels like the beginning of something.
How does this make you feel? Atticus coming in, and he is definitely not himself. How does that make you feel?
So I worked on the scene with Elijah today. Sometimes Quintus is intimidated by Atticus because of his proximity to power. In this scene, I don't feel afraid of Atticus. I feel afraid of what Atticus is afraid of.
This is a huge thing because remember, Atticus is directly under Pilate. Atticus being a cohorte urbanae, that means that he's pretty high up. And this is a weird thing because, again, from the very beginning, the cohorte urbanae are not what Atticus is. This is not how they actually worked or are portrayed. The cohorte urbanae actually would have worked within Rome. They were like a police force within Rome. So this doesn't actually work the way that we think it does. It's not as accurate as we think it is. But in this setting, in The Chosen, the cohorte urbanae, Atticus in particular, he's kind of acting as this old grizzled FBI agent that's on this specific mission from Pilate. He's kind of like Pilate's Obi-Wan Kenobi, the mentor to him, but also someone who is kind of in this realm, helping and doing what Pilate wants him to do. So anyway, all of that to say, if Atticus is scared with all of his experience, all of his different things, he's hunted down zealots before. He's done all these different things. He is a grizzled veteran, right? And if he is scared and freaked out, then Quintus is going to have to start to realize how afraid he should be for the situation. So, yeah, it's going to be cool to see that dynamic because it's a different dynamic than we've seen before, where normally we're seeing Quintus kind of trying to wrestle away control from Atticus or show him that he is powerful. But here, I think it's going to be more that Atticus is trying to convey to him how serious the situation actually is.
Imagine, you're no longer afraid of the snarling dog. The snarling dog is now afraid, so what else is out there?
Speaking of what is coming, what are you most excited for fans to see in your character Quintus this season?
There's a really nice kind of that friendly.
Wow. Well, it was amazing to catch up with all of our favorite.
Should be good. Should be good to see. I'm really excited about this. I wish there was just more. I wish it was more than 4 minutes long. Give us a 30-minute behind-the-scenes deep dive into what you guys did. That'd be great. But thank you for the background. Really cool stuff here. I'm excited to see where Atticus ends up. His story in particular is probably the most interesting to me, other than Gaius, of course. Gaius is going to be amazing as he comes to Jesus, and we get those moments with him as well. But yeah, Atticus saw it. Now we have confirmation of that. He saw something at least. And he's on the pursuit for that. And it's going to change the way that he thinks about things. So really cool. If you like this small part of the stream, then you can watch the full entire 2-hour stream on our Patreon at patreon.com/thesnipelife. This is an amazing way that you can help to support us and really the best way that we've found over the years. So if you want to support us over there, go to patreon.com/thesnipelife and sign up for $5, $10, or $25. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.